We are waiting for our guest, Michael Bell, who was actually logged on before Zoe and I started, and we started early. We told him we'd have him on about 15 minutes from now, but we've welcomed him into the chat. Michael, if you can hear us, if you can see us, if you're paying attention, feel free to jump in. We're happy to talk to you anytime you're ready. So just putting that out there for Michael's benefit. But Michael Bell is the producer and the star of the Bowie Lives
Wait.
show.
There he is.
Hey,
We did hear you. Hey.
can you hear me?
Yes.
We can. Hi, Michael Bell. She's Zoe. I'm the milkman, John Milky. Have you been waiting long?
No, actually, I've been just printing out set lists and doing all the business I need to do.
Great.
We're in Toronto tonight, so
Oh, nice.
yeah.
And Peterborough, if I heard correctly, is home base for you. So you're a Canadian guy.
I am a Canadian guy, absolutely, through and through.
And you
Elbows
grew
up.
up, with a love of music, but especially of David Bowie. What was it about
David
Bowie?
Bowie. I did, in fact. I discovered him as a really young guy. I was 14, and I picked up a copy of Young Americans when it first hit the stands, and I guess, and as they say, the rest is history. I heard that album. I went out and bought all the back catalog, and I was already playing in bands and singing, so it was just a natural for me. Like, the guy, good range. I was listening to all kinds of music at home, from big band to country to Piaf to classical, and so all of a sudden to discover a pop artist who was covering all these different genres of music and had such a theatrical approach to his music.
Oh yeah.
It just became my guy.
So then how did this all come together? Because I know you are obviously you are doing David Bowie himself, like all the covers, but then you're also the producer as well. Like, how did that all kind of come together for you to put this show together?
Well, I've been a promoter my entire life.
Oh, okay, cool.
My story goes, I threw my first backyard carnival in the third grade, and
Love that.
yeah.
Backyard carnival.
Yeah.
Well,
Home, right?
well, if you want to date myself, if I want to date myself, there used to be on Channel 7 out of Buffalo, there used to be a guy named Commander Tom.
Okay.
As a kid's show. And he was big on raising money for cystic fibrosis. So he had this little kit that you could mail to the station to, and he would send you, and it turned out to be like a piece of paper with step-by-step instructions. Number 1, get a theme. Number 2, print some tickets. So find a place to do it, all that kind of stuff. So I created a set list of a couple of tunes, a couple of magic tricks, dance routine, and sold tickets around the neighborhood, 5 cents a ticket, printed the ticket by hand. And so it all starts there. So being the producer of the show is just second nature. And I've done that my whole life, built shows and built festivals and events and things of that nature. So
it was just in your blood. You were like, this is what I'm going to do with my life, is just promote awesome, fun things for people to go do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
and be a part of.
It's such a treat for my own life,
Yeah.
kind of self-serving.
So for our audience, the show is called The Bowie Lives. It is a Bowie spectacular, Canada's sensational tribute to David Bowie. The reviews from very notable people are through the roof on this. I love some of the video that I've seen on your Facebook page of people saying, I mean, it's David Bowie. I mean, it's the moves. I mean, it's mind blowing. And you're coming to Ottawa Saturday, April 19th, just so our audience is aware. Saturday, April 19th, 7:30 p.m. The Shenkman Arts Center in Orleans. Tickets are on sale now at shenkmanarts.ca. And if you want to get a little sneak preview of just how authentic this is, Michael's website is thebowielives.com. And of course, you're on Facebook. I'm sure you're on Instagram as well.
Oh yeah, we're doing all the proper things, that's for sure, to promote.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I would be remiss if I did not mention that every city you go to, you find a local performer to play the role of Annie. And in Ottawa, you have chosen Kaylee Stiles. And I was so excited when I read that press release because I'd been in conventional radio for, gosh, way too many years. And when my job evaporated, when they changed formats, I found myself in an awkward position. What do I do next? And I launched an internet channel. And one of the things I wanted to do was feature as many local artists as I could get my hands on. And initially, I think we played well over 30. And one of them who really stood out was Kaylee Stiles, who would have been 10 years old, maybe 11 years old, and just the production, the songwriting, the vocal abilities of this young lady even then. So when I saw that press release, it took me right back, and I'm so proud of her because I know she's, been here and there, but to be part of a production like that, what was it about Kaylee Stiles that you just knew that she was the right one for the Ottawa show?
Actually, oddly, it was through a call that I've got out. I'm producing a couple of other shows as well. And one of them is an Adele tribute. And so I've got a call out across Ontario kind of for someone to, be the Adele. And she was one of the folks who was submitted in. And then afterwards, we put the call out into every market for a local diva to do the Annie Lennox too, and then we got a bunch of responses. And then I thought, this might be a really good chance to see what kind of chops this young lady has live and what kind of stage live presence she has if she's going to take on Principal in one of my shows. So it just kind of made sense. I just, shot her a text and said, "Hey, listen, I'm also looking for an Annie Lennox on the 19th. You won't be up for that."
Oh, that's the Annie. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, now I'm cluing in.
Yeah. But yeah, we do that in every market. And I wanna address something you said earlier about the authenticity of the show and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
One thing I try to really make clear to people is I'm not pretending to be David Bowie. Like it's not that kind of show. I'm not dressing up as David Bowie. I'm not speaking in first person or,
Even though you would look fantastic and probably kill doing something like that. But
yeah, I don't know. You want to see me in a skin tight jumpsuit? Let me tell you.
oh, why not?
You will, Michael.
Yeah.
Have you noted the color of this hair?
Oh, that's what dye's for.
No, it's really more about it being a celebration, and
Okay.
I was off the market. I was doing publishing a magazine for 30 years, an entertainment tabloid for 30 years. After I came off the road, I did a Bowie show actually in the 80s as well. I was an original artist, and as I was waiting for my my big break, my agent suggested we try this new thing called tribute shows, and
Right.
the Blushing Brides were just starting in those days. Tony Springer had Fire going, and so I put a very heady production together that just bombed. It was nobody got it. I used backtracks and theater and an actor and scrims and sets and made a kind of a piece of theater out of it, and then tried to take it into the club market, and it was just too weird for people and myself too. I just again very self-indulgent, and so and I really didn't think I'd ever do Bowie again. And that after that, like it kind of cleansed me of the whole idea. And then about 8 years ago, I decided to close up the newspaper. COVID kind of helped me make a final decision,
As it does.
as it does with lots of folks. And then I went back out and started singing Sinatra and Bublé in the theaters and jazz clubs to
Oh.
try to get myself back into the biz. And then David passed, and then everybody was on to me about why
gotta
not
do
the
it.
tribute. And I
Yeah.
didn't want to. I took about a year to make a decision, and thought, because I didn't want to appear opportunistic. I didn't know if I really wanted to do that, even. But then I came up with an angle to it to suggest, okay, what if I just did it as a giant celebration to the guy and invited community to engage and the audience to engage. I do a thing out front called the Bowie Bazaar, which is a merch table full of Bowie collectibles and CDs and LPs and T-shirts and pins and all the
Right on.
books and DVDs and rarities and that sort of thing. So and we encourage people to bring their stuff and show us, and maybe we do a buy and sell swap or something at that moment as well.
Perfect.
And
It's
and
like
of
the
course,
Antique Roadshow, almost.
it's kind of like an Antique Roadshow. Yeah, it gets better and better as my merch guy, who's also my road manager, Chris. He gets better and better knowing what the value is. He's a super smart guy, so he just looks it up on eBay or whatever and goes, okay, here's what it's going for in the States, with shipping,
Oh, wow.
that kind of thing. And yeah, and then of course we invite the audience, just as in the old days of the Ziggy days, where the kids would all dress up, and all through his career, people would dress up as one of the personas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we encourage people to do that as well, and sometimes we get some incredible audience costumes coming out.
Yeah. Well, like, so because you said, you don't put on the makeup or the clothes and stuff. So what do you do to get into the mindset to be able to perform or give tribute to Bowie?
Well, for me, it's just I cut my teeth. Like I had an original record when I was just leaving high school, and I toured as an artist, original artist, and got some notoriety as an original artist for years and years. And all through that, kind of watching Bowie. I mean, this is all pre-internet, of course, and just seeing him on Saturday, Midnight Special or Soul Train or something like that. Like that would be the times you would get to see the guy perform.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I just, as a kid probably mimicked him like crazy, which was just basically like as far as the dance is just anything goes with the guy. Like, I mean, now that there's this thing called the internet and you can go in and watch all this back performance, right? You just realize like,
I'm sure there's like a TikTok breaking down every move that he's ever done, for sure.
for sure. I mean, incredible notion. Was all the early days where as an artist when he was doing the mime and had people around him coaching him on things and theater people and so it's just kind of in me. It just kind of comes out naturally. The more comfortable I feel on stage, the more receptive the audience is, the more it just kind of gushes out of me, kind of, in this way of it's like muscle memory, basically.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So
awesome.
it's you as a performer, and you're, with an artist, obviously, that you love, that you've grown up with and listened to and watched for years. And it's just your interpretation and you're just going by feel, which I think, is probably, David Bowie as a genuine performer was doing everything by feel, initially, and, working on the things that worked and whatever else. And you encourage your audience to show up in costume as well. Again, Michael Bell is our guest. The Bowie Lives is his show. Shenkman Arts Center in Ottawa, Saturday, April 19th. ShenkmanArts.ca has your tickets. So yeah, get dressed up in your favorite Bowie. And we would be remiss if we did not talk about a documentary you're working on as well. David Bowie.
Well, again, very self-serving, like basically.
Okay.
But that. That's what the world is.
Why we have a podcast, Michael.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, it's basically it started with once we got the show kind of on the road and doing, and I started integrating all these different bits of theater and that sort of thing. One of the guys who was traveling with me at the time, playing in the band and doing all the multimedia for me, he just started filming, and then we thought about doing a podcast idea, like a YouTube station or something that just kind of gave you an insight of what each show is all about and the things that go into making a show, and the characters, of course, that are in the theater running the sound booth and the lighting guys you meet and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I bet.
And then so we just started compiling info, and then as the story kind of grew, it was like, well, there is a story in this, and it's the story that I try to play out on stage through the theater. So the costuming is done by models and dancers, and I have a little set that represents like my bedroom, basically, like a bedroom as a kid,
Okay.
and the models come in and out with the costumes on, so they show you what the Ziggy jumpsuit looked like, and then they do the iconic things in the midst of the show. And the notion really is it's kind of about the guy who lost his identity to somebody else and became famous, as being somebody else's character, and how it's a careful what you wish for scenario. You may so the story sort of you wish for success, but ironically it comes by being somebody else, and the things that go through that, and everybody goes through that kind of stuff. And there's some twists in the theater of the show too, is terms of how that gets spelled out.
Okay.
But that's kind of the idea. We do the show from the beginning to the end, so it's all in order of the histography of
awesome,
of a timeline. So you see the development in the fashion, you see the development in the music, kind of got an educational bent as well. So again, it's just all about trying to create a great celebration that people can, come and be part of, and that sort of thing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you're working on a web series too, I understand.
Oh my gosh, you're so busy.
I guess I didn't finish I trailed off on the doco thing. I mean, okay. so that's kind of what it's about, in the end. And the fellow who's working on it with me, he's like, when are we going to finish this thing? And I'm like, well, the story's not over yet. I've been going overseas and making contacts with the guys at the Dublin Bowie Fest there, and the one in Paris.
Wow.
And so I'm trying to get myself on the bill, and those. Dublin's a big deal. Paris is really small but fun. I've been to both of them a couple of times. Well, I've been to Dublin a couple of times, and the Paris show once. And so we do that here. We have a Bowie Fest here in Canada. Same idea, so there's all these things that are being filmed and that will be incorporated into this doco in the end to make a good story. The best docos sometimes take 20 years to film, right? Like that's what makes them,
definitely. Like, I mean, you want the most content for sure to show, I guess, from beginning to end, like the full and true story behind like how much work and effort and love and passion goes into these sort of productions and stuff. So no, that's awesome. I can't wait to see it. Whether it's 20 years from now or a year from now, I'm excited.
Sure. Well, and interesting, not to the 20-year point, but think of the Jinx, that film, like who would have known just doing a documentary about that would have led to what it led to, with right. So that's keep the cameras rolling, because you never know what you're going to catch in the end. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Michael, thank you for joining us earlier than we had set you up for. You were the first one onto the call today. You were on before Zoe and I were on. So
well, I'm heading out really quick, in about 15, 20 minutes. So it's perfect timing.
Well,
that's why I got jumped on early.
So we're not keeping you. So The Bowie Lives is the name of the show. It's a Bowie spectacular, Canada's sensational tribute to David Bowie. Saturday, April 19th, 7:30 p.m., the Shenkman Arts Center in Orleans. And tickets again are on sale at shenkmanarts.ca. We will put that in the show notes for the video that will be living forever on Facebook, and the show notes on the podcast as well. And for more information on the show and the movie and the web series and everything that Michael's got going on, thebowielives.com is his website. Michael Bell, thank you for spending time on ZM this weekend.
Well, thanks very much, John. And
our pleasure.
Let me know if you want to come to the show.
Oh, yeah, we would love to.
Okay.
Only if I can put on the big stretchy suit we talked about. That's mandatory.
What's that? Sorry?
Only if I can put on the stretchy suit we were talking about earlier. That's mandatory.
I'll order one for you. It'll be at the merch table when you get there.
I'm so excited to pour some into that.
I'm glad. Yeah. Careful what you wish for. Michael Bell, our guest. Thank you so much, Michael. You're probably best to let yourself out, because when I do it, I tend to ban people from our chat room for the rest of eternity. So
okay, I hope I know how to do this. Yeah. Okay.
We'll see you in
Have a
Ottawa
great
April
day.
19th. Michael Bell.
All
Yay!
right. Thanks very much, you
Bye.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Pleasure.